Alright, so for this tutorial, we're going to walk through how to take your image of your subject and to make it a PNG by removing the background and making it a transparent file. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this, and with Photoshop, there's so many different advancements to make it much, much easier. So actually, here's the first simple way to do that. The first thing we want to do is we want to select our subject. So if we go to the Select tab, and if we go to Subject, then we see that our subject is going to be selected. Now, this is very, very advanced because Photoshop never used to do this, but now that it's doing it, it makes life so much easier. But the one thing you want to do is you always want to zoom in to fine tune to make sure that there's anything that needs to be added or subtracted from the selection. So we're going to first just zoom in and we're going to start at the top of the image with her hair. And as you guys can see, there's a little gap of her hair right here that we want to be selected. Because if we're going to take this image to put it on a flyer, put it on a graphic, we want to make sure that it looks as realistic as possible. So you want to remove everything from the background. So we're going to go in with our poly tool. We're just going to zoom in a little bit closer. And because we're trying to subtract from the selection, we're going to make sure that we go to the top where we can subtract. If you hover over the settings, it'll let you know that this is where you'll add to selection, and this is where you will subtract from the selection. So we're just going to select this area, this gap right in her hair. And voila. And now we're going to just go around the rest of the image just to see if there's any other things that should be removed. If you want to be very meticulous like these little gaps here, you can definitely remove those as well. And now we're just going to keep scrolling. And we're just going to look for just any areas that need to be added or subtracted from the selection. So now as you guys can see, this gap between her hand, this needs to be subtracted as well. So we're going to subtract. And we're just going to select the area. I like the poly tool because it gives you some nice straight lines and it makes it pretty easy to do selections. And there's this little area right here in between her fingernails that we want to grab. And now we're just going to keep scrolling around her body just to see if there's anything else that needs to be edited. Now, if we want to fix this part of the shirt, we're going to go back into the selection and we're going to just go to add. And we're just going to add this part of the shirt into the selection. And now right here with her eyelashes, as you guys can see, the selection has her eyelashes cut off. But of course, we want to be able to have her eyelashes whenever we're going to place this image into a flyer. So we're just going to go back in, we're going to add, and we're just going to just try to get some of the black lines just to reflect her eyelashes. And voila. All right, so now we have our subject selected. And actually, I just want to do a quick zoom in just to make sure that this gap between her arm, as you guys can see, you always want to fine tune and be as meticulous as possible. So zoom in as much as you can just to make sure that if there's any overlaps with your subject in the background, that you're able to remove that. So we're just going to fix this little gap right in here. And perfect. Now that our subject is selected, we want to remove the background from this image. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. One way is if you decide to double click the background. Double clicking the background allows you to unlink it. As you guys can see, it was locked at first. Now we're going to select the inverse of the selection so we can delete the background. And if you just hit delete, now the background is deleted. Another way to remove the background is to create a mask of the selection. So we already have it selected, so we're going to go down to the bottom of our screen where you see the square with the circle in it. If you hold on it, it's going to let you know that this is how you add a mask. So once you click that, it's going to remove the background from the subject. Now, the way that you want to export this image is you want to export it as a PNG file. When you export it as a PNG file, it makes it a transparent file, so you can just place the image on top of anything. So we're going to go to File, Save a Copy, and we're going to change our format to PNG. So now if we decide to open that PNG file, you can see that the background is cut out, and all you'll have to do is just place this image, whether it's in a graphic, a flyer, poster, whatever it may be. It's easy to just import this photo into Photoshop, Canva, or whatever editing software you're using. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and be on the lookout for the next video.